meet and talk about it a little bit. Getting some conflicting information. So pardon us for going with the PowerPoint presentation. I can get easily off topic. We can talk anything about sewer maintenance or water maintenance or something in this presentation. So this will keep me focused. So it's much for me. So, and I haven't done this professionally since I've been unemployed or moved on. So
watch the camera.
Oh, I'm sorry. We are taping this on a GoPro. I think we should be able to download it to YouTube. So if anybody needs to get a copy of the presentation, let us know. We'll do it.
No test.
Okay.
We got enough to do other than grading tests. Let me tell you.
Yeah, who's the teachers in here? We'll elicit their help. You know, a number of years ago, it's our second year, Julie and I took over the Cove Campground. And one of the first things is, for us is what we did is define what we were. And that's kind of what it is, and this is exactly where we're driving the quiet hours from. You know, what we are and where we want to be. And as it is, as you mentioned, we are a recreation facility, and maybe you'll say, well, that's whatever. And I've told that to a lot of people. I'm not a trailer park. Trust me, I could fill this place up with full-timers all I want. I've done one thing. I want to be. And again, we're looking for individuals and families who want to enjoy the outdoors. Julie and I have been camping since Abby was in diapers, and we've been a lot of places. We've gone, seen a lot of things. So we try to bring that 25 to 30 years experience to camping into what we try to develop here at Pine Cove. Also, part of this is what we feel is our responsibility as owners, and we put that first and foremost. This is what our business. We want to provide a product that is consistent to everybody. So the second part of it was what do we need to do as owners? And we reviewed countless contracts, met with consultants when we developed this all together to come up with what we thought were some of our key points of what we need to provide as owners. And the first and foremost is to protect your privacy and ensure your personal information. Hot topic, everybody doesn't want to get spammed or what have you, as well as to trust us with information that it remains confidential. Second one is enforcing the terms and conditions of our contract, and that's important to create a standard that all the campers can abide by. Thirdly, is to provide a safe, comfortable living conditions for all campers. Again, we're constantly trying to improve systems, improve infrastructure, and what have you to make Pine Cove a better place. It still is not up to our standards. We will continue to do that. Thirdly, ensure accessibility to owners. That's kind of why we're here today. I don't know, maybe this was a thought that maybe someday we become so wildly successful, we vacation other places and you never see the owners. But for right now, you're stuck with the owners and all the employees, Julie and I. So, listen and respond to the campers' needs and wants in a timely and direct manner. This is, I guess it was good for us to go back and review some of the documentation, especially after the comments of last week. So it was good for us to do this because this is what is needed to do.
And just for your information, all this is in our contract. We just didn't make this up. This is the first page after our demographics. This is what's important to us. So
we have not changed it. We may tweak it a little bit based upon things that go, but it's the end of my presentation. We didn't. This was all developed, so don't think we did a huge amount of effort here because it was already. And that's why I said it was good for us to go back and revisit it, what we are and what we're providing. Be cheerful and eager to give assistance where needed. Equally, You know, we're here to help you guys enjoy your camping experience. You wouldn't be here if you weren't wanting to enjoy the camping experience, and we're here to make sure it's the best we can make it for you. Next one is be honest, forthright, and direct in all communication with the camper, kind of going right back to why we're here today. And last one, to treat all campers fairly and with respect. Again, why we're here today. The next section in this is what your responsibility to campers are. Again, this is all in the contract. This is exactly, again, was great for us to revisit this. One is to understand and observe the terms and conditions of Pine Cove. And we want to ensure you're comfortable, carefree, and kind of think of it as your home away from home. And that we all have places we could live elsewhere. We choose to come here for some reason. And that sometimes is to get away and unplug. And we want you to enjoy that. Next one is enjoy and protect your facilities. I always think protect is almost just be a good neighbor. You know, look out for your campers inside of you. And please help us look out for our property. If there are issues, please let us know. And have a good, safe stay and enjoy all of what Pine Cove has to offer. And lastly, to bring to the owner's attentions any questions or concerns. Again, that was very very interesting for us to go back and re-review what we had there. In most instances, we didn't feel we need to modify or change it that much. But it's kind of our preamble or our guiding constitution of what we're about here to give us direction. Okay. Coming up now is, I guess, the real meat of it. What are quiet hours? And in our interpretation, we actually had to develop a definition of it because I thought, well, I'll just go out on the internet and Google quiet hours. And you'll see the definition I got for quiet hours here, which is kind of interesting. One is, we says, when the overall noise level of the campground is reduced, so campers can relax and enjoy without being disturbed by other campers' activities. Realize we have over 100 campers in this campground.
Campsite.
100 campsites. Multiply that by how many are in your camper. It's a lot of people. It gets, and let's put it, those 100 campsites all have different needs and wants. What we are trying to do here is delineate where we draw the line and saying where we're going to meet most of the requirements of our campers. I can't meet everyone. I will strive to do that, but everybody comes from a different path, and it's hard to incorporate all those. So I'll try to incorporate as many as I can. Okay, so that's in our contract. Quiet hours are between 11 p.m. and 9 a.m. in the morning. I thought it was kind of interesting as we went through and looked at this, how many of them said their quiet hours ended at 6 a.m. And I was thinking, ooh, that sounds way too early. Maybe that's a get back. And then lastly here, does this mean that you have to go into your campers at 11? No, not at all. All we're just saying is the noise level should be reduced to not be heard from other campsites, and in large groups, it's difficult to do that. So you might even think about breaking out into smaller groups, and just to keep the overall noise level down. This is not a sole problem of our campground. It's kind of interesting. We looked and see what was out there from Good Sam, their definition. Quiet time is just that, quiet time. It was their #2 issue with campgrounds. So it's not different for us as it is at any other campground out there. It's kind of interesting, their comments. Even a quick burst of laughter can wake the dead. This was a rather interesting comment. Alcohol seems to reduce hearing and increase voices. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But Good Sam's definition of quiet time is just that, quiet time. number one issue for Good Sam, which I don't think we have here, is people walking through other people's campsites. So this was actually number two. And I guess it really just gets down to a level of respecting your neighbors and, you know, respect for what they want and desire. So please keep in mind.
I'm there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a day late and a dollar short. When we pulled together our contract, we met with consultants. Like I mentioned before, we called, we posed as campers, we asked a lot of questions to find out what was there. And what we did is, one is, for all of our aspects, is to find out what was out there. Our first observation was Olive Branch. Their quiet hour starts at 10 p.m. Cowan Lake State Park is 10 p.m. Frontier is 11. Beechwood Acres is 11. Caesars Creek is 10. And Thousand Trails is 11. You feel free to go out there and check. I would have to say, on average, it appears to be 10 o'clock is the quiet hour. There are many, many sites out there. Just Google it and you will find. So what this means to us is that we are at least equivalent to the industry average out there, or our quiet time is an hour later than everyone's. Just the point of attention here that we have the state parks there. All state and federal national parks are at 10 p.m. So. Okay. Why are we enforcing quiet hours? First and foremost, it's in the rules that each of you have signed in your contract. It is there. This is probably my fault here, left unchecked. Rules tend to go by the wayside. I have not been real active in checking. Quite frankly, I'm somewhat exhausted by 11, and but it is a part of our business that we need to pay attention to, and we will pay attention to it. So, the other one is to protect our image of a family-friendly campground. We're not a party campground. We are not a frat campground. Those 2 points will relate to our first essence. Who are we? We are a family-friendly campground, plain and simple. And then recent events have made it necessary for us to monitor. There are some things that happened in the past few weeks that I personally am not happy to allow that to anybody. It's not what we want to be, and it will not be that way in the future, because we will monitor. When things get out of hand, things will happen. This is a post that lives on forever out there in the air, or out in the clouds. It's a campground post for ours. Beautiful setting, but people stay up all night, and a party place. I will never see that again. One is it'll never go away, and two, I don't want comments like that. That's not who we are. That's not who we said we were going to be.
This was 2 years ago before we bought the property.
Grants 2 years, but it doesn't go away, and we get asked this time and time again. My response to it is, we're under new ownership, but it does live out there. Okay, some other quiet hour considerations we have. And all of these were brought to our attention during this little exercise when we asked for input and feedback. So please keep in mind some of these things. If you own a dog, particularly at night, please make sure you put it inside, bar collar or something. Dogs have a tendency, voices, to travel. I know maybe we're cruel and probably would get cited by Peter or something. We use bark collars on our dogs because our dogs are completely rotten. That's why they're never in the campground.
Except when they sneak off.
Yeah, except when they sneak off. Sorry, thank you, Cheryl, for returning our wayward son. We didn't think he'd venture across the bridge. You know, we used a bark collar. It worked good for about 15 minutes, and then we never put a battery in it again. And boy, you put those things on there, their little heads would droop, and it's like, guys, if you only knew there's no battery in it. So. Also with this is we had some comments about leashes, so please make sure you keep your dogs leashed, and then while they're outside your camper that they are tied up as well.
This is not just because your dog may or may not run. You know, we've heard that comment before, you know, well, my dog stays with us. But other dogs walking past may cause an issue with an untethered dog. So please make sure your dogs are leashed or tied up.
Okay. Also during quiet hour, when traveling through the remember golf carts, especially the gas ones, they're not stealth. Okay, they do make noise. Your RV walls are not as thick as your car walls. You can hear through them, so please do that. And remind our speed limit, and also comments about racing down hills, carrying on loud conversations while driving around. So please keep in mind they are not completely quiet. The third point, overnight or non-overnight guests, we think should leave prior to quiet hour going in to avoid disturbing other individuals. 11 o'clock is quiet hour. We talk about golf carts. Cars are more noisy. So if your guests are leaving, you know, midstream, that also causes some discomfort for people. So please, if you have someone that's not spending the night, you might think 11 o'clock. Let's go ahead and that way we can overall decrease the noise level in the campground. And last point is noise carries in the campground. Be ever mindful, you know, radio speeds turned down or turned off or very low. Don, I put very low in for you because I know the Reds games run long. So I don't know how it is to watch a Reds game with no volume. But usually they're okay. So, but you know, let's keep those kinds of items to a minimum. Other feedback we got. Quiet hours should be later than 11 p.m. As mentioned in earlier slides, we are at or at least an hour greater than most campgrounds. So we feel that 11 o'clock is a sufficient time. And again, to reiterate the point of quiet hour, that does not mean you need to go in your camper, go to bed, turn the lights off. You can leave the lights on. You can. I have a barn full of firewood that I need you guys to burn up. Dave can attest to it. So feel free, you know, to stay at your go to the campsites, enjoy a fire, quiet conversation around. That's fine. Trust me. Some of these people said about being too early, breaking the parties up. I know of some of our two oldest campers here probably can put a lot of you people to shame in how late they stay up at their campfires. So, no, quiet hours 11. That doesn't mean you go in. Okay.
Oops.
Second one. Each loop should have a different camp. We'll get there. So it'll be fun. Yeah. Each loop should have a different hour. When we go to show individuals in the campground and looking for a site, we do not want to profile anyone in terms of putting everybody in one location. We have a limited supply of sites, and people are happy to take a site. So I am not going to sell them that this site is 12 o'clock, this is 1. We have one contract. 11 o'clock, all sites are responsible to adhere to that. It makes it very difficult to delineate those. When we show the campsite, A lot of times, I will point out that the C loop has abundance of children. I tell them C stands for children, but I also tell them they're probably some of the most behaved children I've ever met. So thank you all for taking such good care of your kids, because they're all great kids, and we don't have any problem with the kids. So, and I also tell them that about 80% of them are girls. Am I very far off in that fact? Okay, is there constant complaining? I think this indication feedback is it a squeaky wheel in this instance for this feedback comment? No, it's not a squeaky wheel. It's coming from multiple sites, and it's also coming from the owner. It's coming from the owner who says that we have a quiet policy, and I'd like to see it enforced, because it is what we all agreed to. It is not excessive. It is pretty much standard and actually an hour greater than most. Next point. We have to go to bed and turn the lights off. No, we talked about that. Just dial down the volume. And also the point of there is which I thought was kind of interesting, good Sam, is alcohol tends to reduce the hearing and increase the volume. Be mindful of that. Patrolling is extreme. I guess from the fact that I haven't done it before. And it's also a part of our business, which unfortunately is a 24/7 business that I have not attained to, or have not addressed. So I will do it because, one, we have complaints, two, we've had some issues, and I need to make sure that everything is being abided by, that everybody has enjoyment in their part. Do I like doing it? No. I'd rather be in bed. I really like my routine of watching evening news and then going to bed. But we've allowed some self-policing of people, and we haven't addressed it. So I will check it through. It is in the contract. It is my responsibility as an owner to provide a safe environment for all of our campers. We cater to an older crowd. I guess, like I mentioned, 2 points in that is, one is we have a couple of individuals here, some of our oldest campers, they can put you all to shame how late they can stay up. So that's not the issue. It's also with our demographics that we've pulled offline from our source, saying our average demographic is between 35 and 44 age group. So we don't necessarily cater to an older crowd. However, the older crowd is more populated in the RV setting. Drug usage. We've had people give us feedback on drug usage in the park. I'm up in front with all of you. I don't want it. If I see it, I witness it, there will be severe consequences. Up to, and I will let police investigate. Don't ask me to hide it, because if it is, I won't. Those individuals will be out of here. We've also had a complaint about one of our individuals here using drugs. They have submitted voluntarily to a drug screening process, a fairly rigorous one, because this is a family business. There is no place for drugs in this campground. If you got any, and I find out about it, I will prosecute. You will be out of here. Plain and simple. I have never done an illicit drug in my life, so I will tell you that right now. And I expect you to keep them out of here. That includes your guests you bring in. You are responsible for them as well. Anybody want to know what my drug policy is?
No dollars.
Is there any mixing of words on drug policy? I can't prove the incidents of that night. We've gone back and asked people, what did you see, what did you see? The only thing I can do is from a trace system in terms of test. If that is, gone.
And this was a test that we set up.
This is what we set up.
We are controlling the test. There's a chain of command with the test. We had to set up a corporate account with the facility. So this is something we are controlling. So this individual has no leeway, no way of manipulating, nothing.
This is the same system that's controlled by the Department of Transportation. So, situation ever arises again, I'll give you the opportunity to do the same thing, or you can look. Okay. Okay. Are we trying to get certain people to leave the campground? Julie and I are new to the campground business, 2 years. How many of you know, so we've owned rental property for over 25 years? My average tenant is 6.4 years in the rental property business. And if you guys have got rental property, do you know what 6.4 years is? Crazy. Completely crazy. So it is wonderful. We go long measures to make sure we get in good people and we keep them. For me, my biggest work here is to get a camper out and get a camper in. So trust me, if I'm trying to get rid of somebody, I know that means work for myself. Not that I won't shirk it if it becomes a problem with the camper, because that could lead to other campers leaving. But we are not actively pursuing getting rid of anybody at this time. We don't think we're being too we gave a definition of what quiet hour is. If you guys can adhere to that, then you know you're not being too loud. So we tried to give you a definition. So your perception of loud and my perception of loud hopefully will meet each other, and we'll have an understanding of what is meant by being loud. I know I can be loud. Certain people have certain voices to carry, some people don't. So some of us will probably be plagued by trying to keep things down our entire genetic life. So Andrea, no eyes there, please. And especially when, I guess what I'm worried about is how many night games does Michigan play? Not a few.
They tend to go past the environment. I'm just saying.
Now I got Andrea, got you in headphones. Okay. Next, my level of force was excessive. In most cases, in all cases, I'd ask the people to hold down, keep the volume down. I did that a number of times. One time was at 12, one time was at 12:30, and then told them to stop the party at a little after 2. So I don't know if that's excessive. The other issue was 11:30, and then came back at 12:30 and told them to break it up. So if that's excessive, I will come to you and tell you, hold it down. That's all I'm asking. I'm not telling you to go in. Please keep it down. And again, if I can drive a point home, more people, more noise. Break into smaller groups. It is quiet time. If anything, I will be persistent. So if that's excessive, I forgive you. I forgive that if I'm too persistent, but I will be consistent and apply to all loops, and hopefully won't have to cross this bridge after today. Okay, last one. Asking people to drive home after one beer was unethical and immoral. One gentleman I had not seen was not a member of this campground. It was 12:30. The guest was not registered. Once I was informed that he had been drinking, I said it was fine to stay. So, but I guess what I'm thinking, what we need to do is, well, we'll get to that later. The next one is, should children be back at the campsite at 11? I think since quiet hour is 11, probably it would be a natural progression for that, the kids to be back in their loops by 11. It was kind of interesting while we had talked about this issue. To be honest with you, kids have never been a problem with volume. And granted, they're sometimes up here playing cornhole, and they're kind of away from things. So, never been an issue, but it probably should be something we think about the kids be back to their own loops and campsites by 11 as well. We've had issues of feedback about trespassing in restricted areas. This one kind of hurt me a little bit, being in areas that, I'm an old farm boy, and I don't lock a lot of stuff. There's some things I do lock at the pool and what have you. But, people being in areas that they shouldn't be in, like my barn areas, the pool, and others. Please, those areas are off limits after light out or after dark. I can't put a gate around my barn, it's kind of big. There's a lot of big logs back there, and I'd hate for kids climbing on them to get hurt. Okay. And then comments about, well, we can self-police. Well, in events of the past 2 weekends, it appears that some of our quiet hours left unchecked have waned a bit, and they kind of need to get back to where they need to be.
One comment I want to make about the self-policing is also the fact that, in this effort, fortunately or unfortunately, we've heard a lot of feedback, and trust me, we've heard of incidences in the park that we are just totally amazed at that have happened. We cannot do our job to be able to make sure that things are safe and secure we can't be everywhere. We need people to tell us about these incidences and in a timely manner. We can't do anything about something that happened a year ago, or even at the beginning of the year. We need to be able to address things as they happen. You guys have got to tell us. If you think that you guys can handle it on your own, you're wrong, because it's caused issues. You need to tell us when it happens so that we can address it at that time.
Okay. Wrap up. There's only 63 more slides. So.
I'm going to go past 11.
As owners, we have a responsibility to serve all of our campers to enjoy the park and guarantee a good night after some point in time. We chose that point to be 11 o'clock. Again, this does not mean individuals are not allowed to stay up late and enjoy the evening. I know when we camp, we spend many, many nights in the campfire, and that's what we enjoy. As well as we made a lot of desserts, a lot of s'mores and stuff, so miss those times, I really do. We will monitor the campground. Again, we have a responsibility to you. We see that the rules are consistently applied to everybody. So please realize it's not the greatest job in the world. I prefer not to do it, but it's obviously with the recent developments that we need to do it. I would prefer just to come around and say, have a beer with you at your campsite. Okay. We will ask individuals whose noise level is outside their campground to hold it down. I think I've done that, tried to do that to keep it down. It's not a glorious job, it's not something I like to do. So please, please, please help me out. Keep it down. I guess think about it, we've all camped one time with children, right? And you put the baby to bed or the kid to bed and somebody next to you in the campground was being loud and woke them up or what have you. Kind of keep that in mind, remember that time? It wasn't very pleasant, or a night that you tried to go to bed and somebody's having a party next to you. Please remember those times and realize, I don't want to be that person next to me, so we need to, at some point, be quiet, and we've chosen 11 o'clock for that time. Okay, and then we have to ask multiple times, ask you to call it a night or to go inside. And even going inside is kind of interesting. Your walls are only about this thick. And for you tent campers, they're about that thick. Noise still does travel outside, so I wouldn't say there's unlimited noise inside your campers, especially now when we start getting cool and people are going to leave their windows open at night. So we might be able to fare a little bit better in the summertime when Lord knows those air conditioners can drone out just about anything. So anyway. Well, this is all I have. Questions, comments?
Maybe I shouldn't speak, but I'm going to say something because I've been down this road many a times. Me and my wife have been camping for 47 years and raised our family. And I have been one of the biggest drunks and partiers you have ever seen in your life.
We are.
We're full-time RVers, and we've camped about every state. We've been permanent residents in some, and now we stay here year-round. I used to be the loudest mouth, and my wife can contest to that. At the parties, at the bars, I get up and dance and sing. And this, I found out through a lot of friends and everything and that we still could stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, have fun. All we done was turn down the music. Every once in a while, I laugh a little bit too loud. But if you just do that and respect the others, I've been called down many a times, and I'm, ashamed of it in a way. But we can have fun, we can party, and we still do, without disturbing everybody else and getting in fights and stuff like that, because I've seen fights, I've seen friends turn against friends. I had a good friend of mine, he drank whiskey, I had to grab him and hold him. He drank beer, we're fine. Jim, and I've only been here, this will be my 2nd year. I love this campground, and I see the way the people run it, and there's a lot of good people in here. Everybody I've met has really been great. And I think we can continue to have good friends, good times, and just turn the music down a little bit and respect each other. That's been hard for me to do. Believe me, you can ask her. I was a big drinker. I drank whiskey and beer all the time. I was in the Navy for 10 years. That's where I learned to drink. But it is a good campground, and I can respect what they're saying. And we've camped at lots and lots of campgrounds. Quiet hours about 11 o'clock everywhere you go. But 10 at some. But we learned that you can still party and have a good time. Heck, I fell asleep at the campfire at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with other guys. So it's just that the voice, and I got a voice that carries. Believe me, it's a loud one. So she's telling me to shut up now. I just want to speak on their behalf. I think that this is a great campground and a lot of good people, and they do a lot of things for the children. It's great. So I got to say.
Thank you, Bob.
That's not falling asleep around the campground, that's passing out.
If you don't mind, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but the pinata at noon,
Yes.
if possible, we can move that to 12:30.
Sure.
Okay.
Go on 11, they'd all should be back by 12:30, if that's okay.
That's fine with me.
Mayor and Reed are doing a pinata
Pass
at
the word.
12:30,
I
so
have a PowerPoint presentation that's on that.
feel free to take the floor.
Yeah, that's fine. Pass the word to all the kids. I'll put a note on Facebook, but I know sometimes people don't immediately check Facebook. But yeah, that's fine for us.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Comments?
Hey, Jim?
Yes.
Is there any way on certain days there could be a leniency, let's say,
We should have put
holiday-
that in, maybe like the Halloween or something.
Halloween, holiday,
Michigan night games.
camper crawl.
I'm sorry, the National,
Crawl night.
or National
Night game.
Dishonor. We will take that under advisement. Anybody in the outside gallery? Well, guys, thank you all for coming.
If you guys do have feedback that you want to share with us outside of this group, you guys know our email address. We do, I think, a very good job of responding to those in a timely manner. So please, if there's stuff you want to say to us, feel free to do so. You know, as mentioned in one of our earlier slides, accessibility to the owners. I mean, you know, you can always find us somewhere. So whether it's email or in the camp store or just tooling around, whatever, grab us, let us know. You know, we just kind of went through our information, but this has been a hard thing for Jim and I to do. We realize it's our job to do it, and that's why we're here, but, this has been tough for us because, we need to make sure that we do things to satisfy the entire campground, and sometimes that gets difficult to do. But we love this campground. This has been our dream, and if that hasn't been evident to you guys, just in how we run things and the improvements we've tried to make, I would hope it would be. We like to have fun just as much as you guys. You see us out here. You see me dancing. I know it's not pretty, but you see me dancing. And, if we didn't enjoy it, if we didn't like to have fun, trust me, we wouldn't bring in the bands. We wouldn't do the karaoke nights. We wouldn't do those kind of things. We like to have fun just as much as you guys do. So please keep that in mind. We're not here telling you guys gotta go in, no fun allowed. Trust me, we stayed at a KOA when we were doing our normal camping, going around to places, and the rules on the store was don't do this, don't do that, none of this, none of this. I mean, it was all negative stuff. And we always called it the no stay KOA, because it was like, that's not fun,
Yeah, Matter of fact, I went up to the owner and after he pointed out that our rug was entirely too large underneath our awning, that it wasn't within the standards. And after seeing all the no signs, I asked him, I said, just was curious, are we allowed to have fun?
So please, understand that, I feel like quiet hours is something that can be managed. You just have to respect one another. I don't think that this is something unsurmountable in our campground. I think we have all the right people, and I think we can do it. We just have to be respectful of one another. Yes?
Jen, I think, given the fact that we're being quiet, I think everybody's okay with what you said. I'm wondering, though, if you would consider the approach to monitoring the quiet hours.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you would just patrol the area while moving. Because I think, and I'm speaking personally, it's not necessarily that you're monitoring it, it's the sitting. Because I feel like our conversations are being overheard.
Not if you're quiet.
I'm usually doing eBay and Craigslist, to be honest with you, while I'm doing I'm worried that when I drive through too much, that the people that will hear me in the campground. So I try to be somewhat quiet. I generally will park myself by the gravel pile in B-loop, just because I'm kind of out of the way, and I can kind of here, a little bit of C, a little bit of B loop, and I'll head down to D, but I'm also worried about my golf cart making noise. So if that doesn't bother you, I will constantly move right up and down. But that's,
Put a blue light on top of it.
yeah. So,
Don't turn the lights off.
yeah.
Keep the lights on.
Oh,
That, turning the lights off gets a little weird. To me.
okay. Okay. I guess
I'm
I'll
just
just
like,
figure it out,
okay.
just off the road, I turn them off. So,
Alright.
anyway, I will do that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I have a question that's so that we quiet on, but,
Mhm.
we talked about people moving out and new campers coming in.
Yes.
What's your policy on people in the campground getting first choice of an open campsite?
Our,
I guess I thought
Yeah,
I'd heard
yeah.
the waiting list.
yeah, the waiting list. The waiting list is equal weight to new people and existing campers. So if you contact me, and it's done by the timestamp on the email that you send. So if you send to me at 12 o'clock that you want a different site, and I had somebody come in from the outside, send me an email at 11:59, they go to the top of the list. We do not give any priority to individuals, internal or external. So it's all how they contact us. And it's done by email. And that's why I tell you, make sure if you want to, if you're interested in, just send an email.
Hey, Jim, I think most of us just kind of felt that one specific incident brought this all down on us.
I agree, there's one major incident.
Yes, it was me.
And it is something that I
The
put
action.
it in the contract that we actively manage the campground. And to be honest with you, a lot of times 11 o'clock I was in bed. But I cannot have this issue arise again, and I will not have it arise again.
And Jason, it wasn't just that
Every
incident.
Oh, we've had others.
I just
Trust
kind
me.
of felt that maybe you thought that incident.
No, what we felt was that that incident, on top of other incidents that we've had, we've lost control.
That's what I
We
thought.
felt things were spiraling out of control, and we want to get some hands around that again.
Okay.
So it's not just that incident.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a major incident, and it's an incident that we're not
You
discussing
policed it
in
pretty
this,
well.
we're
Well,
not.
I didn't, but somebody else did.
Yeah, we're not addressing that in this forum, but there will be, other conversations outside of this forum to discuss that incident in particular. But yes, it was not just that incident, it was just the icing on the cake,
Okay.
so to speak.
Well, that's kind of the way me and a lot of other people in here kind of felt. And the other part of it is just, it kind of produced an uncomfortable camp setting last month.
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I sympathize, because to be honest with you, we feel that too,
We had sent out an email, and I guess maybe we were expecting you to read between the lines about quiet hour enforcement, which came out prior to this. But, and I want to point you out, Jason, but you had a good suggestion. In this situation, we probably should have done this meeting first, and then let you know what was coming, or I shouldn't say coming, but what we would be doing. So we may have got the cart before the horse, so we apologize for that.
So I would just like to say that,
Last,
we really haven't lost control.
yeah. Well, last night was great. I don't know, I didn't have any problems last night. And,
Yeah. I got my husband back in bed at about what,
30?
Something, 1:30?
So,
Instead of 2:33?
so, but, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason.
Right,
You
fine.
haven't- but I guess I feel like sometimes I have ADD. If I lose my track of my thought, Lord knows where I'll go after that. But we get your whole comment? Or?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you felt that you lost control, but far from it. Your campground is run very well.
So we appreciate that. We
Just wanted to let you know.
yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
as Julie mentioned earlier, we enjoy camping, trust me. Probably the thing I hate about campground ownership is that we do not get to camp. And that sounds kind of weird, but we do. We took 3 weeks in Florida last year and we enjoyed it. We still do. And we always said that when camping no longer becomes enjoyable for us, and we saw what happened last regime, then we know it's time to get out. So right now we enjoy camping. We want to continue this. We enjoy it.
You
So
can come back to Florida in the winter, we'll let you down.
yeah, I've heard I'm buying a campground in Florida too. Okay.
Anything else? These are all good comments. Yes, Dave.
I'm concerned about kids driving the golf carts.
Kids driving the golf carts.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Yes. Sorry we
you see-
didn't mention that.
Kids driving golf carts has no rules. 16 with a driver's license. The only way,
No temporary permits,
no temporary
nothing.
permits. I want to see
License.
the driver's license. And there's Brian Whitaker. I'm sorry I never had the opportunity to bust your son. So. Yeah. So I know he's like, he's got his license. Pull him over. So
Jim has stopped individuals, I don't know if the
Oh,
Egbers are here,
Egbers are here?
but their son looks to be like 12.
yeah. That's it.
So-
Oh my God, I wanted to crawl in a hole. It's like, does he get a driver's license? Well, yes I do. It's like,
But
I had to run him down on the tractor. Do you know how hard that
we obviously can't be everywhere, and this is one of those things that I would like to know as soon as it happens, not the next day or the next week. It makes our job very difficult for us to go back. And trust me, we need to know at that time in order for us to be able to act on it. So if you see kids driving, and what I mean by kids driving is not just someone that's 14 or 15, but I'm even talking about little kids sitting on people's laps driving.
Yeah.
Even though they're not really driving, but they're there. They're a distraction. If something would happen and you've got your kid on your lap, it makes it difficult for you to react. So please don't let your kids sit on your lap and drive golf carts. If you see people that are driving golf carts that should not be, please report it to us in a timely manner so we can address it.
And also, the other ones we get a lot of complaints about are a boatload of kids on a golf cart. Much like trying to how many people you can stuff in a Volkswagen, I guess, which is our generation. Flying down a certain hill, our steepest one here in the campground is kind of a roller coaster ride. Someone's going to get hurt. And I meant the last thing I want to do is on my watch tell somebody, your guest or something, got hurt on a golf cart because they were horseplaying. So please, that situation arises, please tell those people it's not a safe act, or let us know, and we'll attend to it. So.
I have a suggestion.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Cheryl.
Can we put like a drop box, a little mailbox up by the store, so if we wanna drop our electric bill or whatever, and the
There-
store's not open, there is one?
There is one.
Well, I missed it then.
No, Cheryl, that was our effective management. We just installed that during your comments. So. If you don't know, we did put a drop box because people would leave it at our mailbox at our house, or where do we leave it? So there is a drop box up by the store.
And
so.
just to kind of reiterate what I put in the note, this isn't related to anything really going on, but Abby is no longer here. She's back at school. Jim and I will try and keep the store hours, at least while the pool is still open, to what they are, but realize that it really cuts us thin. If there's something you need, we do not mind you guys calling us or texting us. Those are the two best options. Emailing, I mean, even though I do check email quite frequently, it's not immediate. But if you need something that's in the store, don't hesitate to ask us if we're not there. We will, we still have bathrooms to clean and activities to run and whatnot. So even though we'll try to maintain those store hours the best we can, realize that we may not be there. You might see the closed sign on there when it says that we should be open, but realize we're probably out doing something. Don't hesitate on calling us or texting us if there's something you need. We don't mind at all.
Well, since you've said that, and we have the drop box, I know a lot of times we request for ice. We'll just leave the ice box open, it'll be an honor system. If you want, just drop the money in the drop box. Or an IOU and put it in there, and you guys can self-serve that, so.
Is the prices out there? I don't know what they cost.
$2 for a small bag, $5.50 for a large bag.
We'll
We'll
put a
little
note.
sign up there. So if you want to do that, that's fine. It seems like that's one we get a few questions about. Oh, also pool, weather permitting. I do not by permit have to close the pool at Labor Day. So if the weather looks like it'll be good, we'll evaluate that week by week. We'll leave the pool open. Of course, I would not get into that. I think you could do the ice bucket challenge in the pool right now.
I was in there yesterday, I will attest to that. So cool.
So we will leave it open week by week. If we have a nice Indian summer, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Yesterday it was only up to 77 degrees.
Oh,
Men,
yes.
women, anybody.
Yes, I know I've sent out notices, but since I have kind of a lot of people here, if anybody is a golfer and would like to do the golf outing, please register. I promise you it will be a good time. There are prizes, so, and some.
We need about 2 to 3 more people right
Yeah,
now.
we're a few short at a minimum, but we'll take anybody, so if you're interested in golfing, yeah.
Men, women, anybody.
Women, skill does not matter, it's about going out and having a good time, enjoying the outdoors. So please, if you are interested, register with us through the website or through the email. Anything else?
Sorry to keep rambling on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Please help yourselves to coffee and donuts. And if there's anything else,